What you find later in your career that you don't know when you're first being recruited
Right.
is that as you become a recruiter of future officers, that whole first interview is an assessment. That's all it is. It's a psychological assessment that is informal, executed by an experienced officer to determine whether or not the person who is a candidate is a suitable candidate.
Mm.
And then after that experienced officer's assessment, then when they introduce the idea of, hey, you are being invited to work for CIA, that's when the next interview is organized. And the next interview is the very clinical, very hard-hitting, multi-day psychological evaluation.
What are some of the maybe more either mundane or obscure things that you learn in training for the work that you did that could be surprising to some people, either because of the level of obscurity or just how mundane it might sound to the everyday person?
Yeah, one of the most interesting things, man, is how powerful questions are. And it's fascinating because we all talk about questions and we read about questions, and questions are something that you covered in exhaust, ad nauseum in college. But in everyday life, in the interactions between people, questions are a very powerful thing because they control the conversation. The person asking the questions controls the conversation.
Mm.
However, the person answering questions is the person who feels the most fulfilled by the conversation. So, in essence, when you're asking somebody a question, you're making them feel good about themselves, especially if you're asking them questions where they know the answers. You see this all the time in your work, David, because you interview experts all the time about what they're good at. So they never have, they walk, for the most part, they walk away from a conversation with you feeling very good about themselves. That applies everywhere in the world, whether you're talking to your boss, whether you're talking to a car salesman, whether you're talking to your kid's teacher, whether you're talking to your kids themselves.
Mm.
When you have, when you ask questions that people can answer, they feel good about themselves. And by feeling good about themselves, they feel like they can trust you.